Had a quick video update. It's some amazing news actually. So I gave a kind of a report out today, this morning. How Mandy walked like down the hall toward the elevator and back, and that was huge. Like that was a big deal. She had a headache and was talking to the doctor this morning and mentioned how it felt like a caffeine headache. So they gave her some Tylenol, eating supper. They gave her some Tylenol with caffeine, forgot what that was called, but some concoction. And wouldn't you freaking know it, she just wakes up, starts doing really good. They got her up with the walker again. She walked around the nurse's station one time, which is about, I don't know, probably 150 feet, total. Wiped her out again, but still. But once she got back in bed, she got nauseated a little bit. They gave her some nausea medicine, and she has been talking our heads off for the rest of the day until about an hour ago. She calmed down, pain set in again, and we're trying to get them to give her that again in the morning to see if it peps her up, because she really like stepped it up a notch. Pretty wild. So that's promising. We talked to the surgeon today. Got some positive news. That's the reason I wanted to share before I lose it, because it's great. There was a chance. So they took a bone. They took the bone cover area, from her skull when they went in after the stroke to relieve the swelling. And then it's also the membrane around the brain. It's not called a membrane, it's called a derma. It's basically the sac that the brain sits in. They left it open because they had to. It was basically a drain. And they did that to keep from giving her a full-blown shunt, a tube hanging out of her head again. Or a tube running under her skin, going down somewhere else to drain off, which is something she never wanted from the last surgery either, but it was also a possibility. So obviously there's some lifestyle changes there. Even if she was 100%, right? We're pretty reckless when it comes to bike riding and mountain biking when we do that stuff, and we don't wear helmets, but we'll have to forever. Anything she does where she might hit her head, she'll have to wear a helmet or not do it. So we got to get her balance back up. So he's really feeling like it's going to take a long time, but he's really feeling, him and the rehabilitation lady. They're working with her to get her started. I don't really understand all that yet, but basically get her going with the MD Anderson Rehabilitation Center. But they really feel like she can come back a pretty good bit. So after that conversation, feels positive. Talking in circles again. I lost my point. They removed that bone. Well, the idea, and they left the derma open. The catch there is two things. If once the skin began to swell, if the derma was still leaking and seeping fluid out, and her intracranial flow of the ventricles, if you know anything about any of that, if the ventricles aren't flowing well and the swelling isn't come down, and it's still seeping out the derma, when the skin finally closes and heals up, they may have to put a shunt in or some sort of drain. So that would be the opportunity for one other type of procedure. The second opportunity was there was a possibility of going back in and putting a mesh, or either replacing the bone. They made it sound like they were going to put the bone back in, but he cleared me up on that today. They were talking about putting a mesh or either some sort of plate, plastic, whatever plate. But he said there was a problem with the plate. It's like one of that size or something like that. So anyway, he said they've already assured me 2 or 3 times that there's lots of people who've had brain surgery, never put the bone back, and are doing fine and living normal, lives. He told me that she didn't need to go join Red Bull team and joining any X Games or anything, but he really felt like she could find some level of normalcy where she could get back to doing the things that she loved to do. So that put some pep in her step, obviously. And the fact that she did so good today has really, stepped her up. So she was kind of beaten up this morning, and because she couldn't do more, but then she did more. So yeah. So just continue prayer, guys. I swear, it works. I mean, God's hand is on her. She is like a star student with him. And though I'm normally fighting back tears of fear, right now I'm fighting back tears of joy and rejoice at what God's doing with her. So I'm not going to be foolish enough to say 100% healing, but I'm also not foolish enough to think that God couldn't do that. But what I am asking God to do is just put his hand on her, and whatever his will is to be done. And he's already spared her. She's here. I asked a good solid question. Is she out of the woods as far as being in danger of death again? And he told me straight up, he's like, well, there's always possibility of infections and things that could just wreak havoc on her, but for the most part he didn't see any other reason for that. So she seems to be bouncing back pretty hard from this. We're going to be in here at least another week minimum, maybe a little more than that, but we're going to be in here a bit. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with somebody else. I've told a few people, but I'm telling the world right now. I mean, my wife has had 2 major brain surgeries, technically 3, back to back. Suffered a stroke. Basically, she wasn't brain dead, but I mean, she was in a bad way. She was dying. She hates the word when I say it, but when I was a kid, it was what people always said. I don't want to end up like a vegetable. I want to breathe in ventilator, I want to breathe in tube or life support. And it just comes to mind. She was at that point. And I watched that happen. I watched her get there, and now I'm watching her bounce back from it. I swear this woman is strong. I'd be dead. I would have died already. I would have died just from sheer lack of willpower. She is something else. I mean, she is something else. So just continue to pray for her, and that she'll just keep pushing and keep. The doctor was really happy this afternoon. He was like, I couldn't be more excited about the where she has come in just a couple of days. He's like, man, he said, I don't think it's possible, but if she could keep this up, man, this would be amazing. So yeah, I've shared it with you. There you go. What a testimony she's gonna have. What a story. Yeah, rejoice in it.